Hello everybody, thanks for stopping by my channel today. My name is Daryl and we're heading towards my shop and my next little job I got going on here. Let me switch the camera around and I'll show you what we got in my shop today. Okay, this is the working end of a Hustler zero turn, a Hustler Raptor zero turn. And what happened to it was the neighbor hit a rock, and subsequently everything came to a screeching halt except for the engine. And guess what happened when the engine kept running but the blades were not turning anymore? It broke this bolt. It broke this bolt where this pulley, the drive pulley, connects to the crankshaft on the engine. So, guess what? We got to get that out. I got a plan of attack, and I'll let you know what that is briefly. I'm on the ground looking up, and you'll see the crankshaft here, right here. And if I get underneath it here, you'll see the broken, what's left of the bolt. And these are never fun. I've actually done this one before. This is the second time this has happened. So I'm gonna see how good I can get at this. I'm really surprised I haven't done this with my own mower. I've run over quite a few things with it, and I've never, well, there's some times when I thought that this was gonna happen to mine. But I was lucky and I got out of it with just a bent blade. So when you're living out here in nowhere's land, things pop out of the ground that weren't there the last time we mowed. At least it seems like it. So my plan here is to, of course, drill it out. And we want to make sure that we got a nice straight hole there where I drill. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little jig. And the jig is going to help me to drill a straight hole. And then maybe get my easy out in there. Get a decent size easy out in there and pull this thing out of here. So we're going to start with making the jig. Alright, I have my calipers up here on the crankshaft, so I can get an idea what the outside diameter of this shaft is, and then I will be able to start my jig building. So let's go pull out of, get this out of here, and then we'll go check and see how big this is. We'll see if I can find a hole saw big enough to do the job. All right, I pulled out my fancy dancy set of Milwaukee hole saws. And the outside diameter of the crankshaft measures 1.1 inches. So I'm thinking that this one here is going to be about the closest, well, not this one, this one here is about the closest I can get to the right size. And you can see I got a little bit of play. So I'm going to use this one in my jig building, and if I need to make any alterations, I have a secondary plan to do that. So let's start building our jig. Alright, I got a 3/4 inch thick piece of Baltic birch plywood. You can see all the 13 plies in there. So it's really good, hard stuff. Nice and straight. And what we're going to do is just put a straight edge on this so I can begin laying out for my jig. Now, yes, I can just saw this up any old way and make the jig, and it'll be, probably good enough, but I'm not that way. I like to have everything just so So we'll go ahead and make it. So I won't be able to hold the camera and do the sawing at the same time. So I'll saw this piece and straighten it up, and then I'll come back. Alrighty. So what I did was, I had my stock in here, my wood in here, and I straightened this edge up, then I turned it and I straightened this edge up. So these two are direct 90 degrees from each other. So that's where I'm going to start here. So this is my reference edge here, and then this is also a reference edge. So how big do I want to make this? Well, let's move over to the workbench, and we'll decide over there how big I'm going to make this jig. So we're at our workbench right now, and we know that the shaft, outside diameter of the shaft, is 1 1/8 inches. So I want to make sure that I'm, of course, larger than 1 1/8 inches with the little square blocks I'm going to be making for this. So I'll probably, let's see, let me take a look at this here. Oops, sorry about that. So we got 1 1/8 inches. I'll probably make the blocks maybe maybe about 1.5 inches. Well, 1.5 inches is going to be too hard for me to do that. Let's make it 2 inches. So let me lay these out, and then we'll come back. Okay, so what I did was I marked out 2 inches from the edge of the board, and we'll make our cut here, and then we'll just have this strip that is 2 inches wide, and then we'll make our other cuts off that board. All right, we're looking down at our 2-inch wide piece of board here, and I put another line at 2 inches and another line at 8 inches. And I got it lined up so the saw is going to take its cut on this side of the line, and that'll give me a 2 by 2 square inch box. 2 inch by 2 inch square box, or square piece of stock, or whatever you might want to call it. And then why did I do this? I mean, why is that going to be 6 inches? This whole total is 8, but from here to here is 6 inches. So after I cut this, then I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. All right, I found the center of all 3 of these pieces, and now I'm going to mark them with an awl, so my drill bit will follow that. Then I got to go get the rest of this put together, and then we will drill some holes. So this one I'm not going to drill yet. This one, no. These 2 are going to get a hole put in them. And then we're going to try to fit that on over the crank, and see if it'll fit over the shaft. And if it doesn't, I have another plan. Okay, we got our 2 pieces drilled. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down here and see if these will slide over that crankshaft. Oh, look at that. Look at that. It has a little bit of wiggle room, but pretty straight. Let's try the other one. The other one's a little bit tighter, so that's good. Look at that. So now you're kind of getting an idea of what I'm doing here. So let's go to the next step. Okay, the next step, I take one of these that I made, and we're going to line it up, and we're going to remove this piece from the rest of it. So let's do that. Okay, so I cut this out. So now you can kind of see what I'm going to do. This is my jig. I'm going to take this and I'm going to glue this on. So when it slides over the shaft, it'll be nice and tight. Well, I don't know if it's going to be nice and tight, but it won't wobble around as much. And it'll give me more of a chance to get a straight cut with my drill. So now, once I get that glued on, I will come back and I will glue this one that has no holes on this one, like that. And then when I go to drill my hole, I'll drill each hole through where the X marks the spot here, and that should be in the center or near the center of my shaft, or in the center of that broken bolt. And what's nice about it is as I progressively get larger in bit size, this hole will get larger also, because I'll drill that when I start drilling this hole. That's kind of hard to say. When I begin drilling to the next step, I just drill this out too at the same time. So that'll help keep my bit straight. Now, I got a little bit of a quandary here because is this thickness enough to keep my bit straight? And another problem that I see is, like, say when the bit goes through, we got the flutes here that are going to be spinning around inside here until I get to a certain point, and then they'll be fine. So as I drill, I should just be, this part here will just be spinning around in my hole that I made. But is that going to be enough? I mean, the end of my shaft will come all the way to here. So do I want to add another one of these on here on top to drill straight through? So I think what I might do is cut up another one of these 2x2s and glue it on. So I just have a little bit extra meat there to keep my bit straight. And then I'll take it over to the bandsaw and we'll make an initial cut with the initial hole there to begin with. And so I can make sure that I'm right in the center, and then we'll go from there. So let me go cut another one of these 2x2s and we'll come back. Okay, I got another piece cut here. So this will slide in here. This one will go in here. So now I glue this all together. And then I come back, and hopefully this X, once I get it all glued up, will be in the center of this little hole here. Why I made this piece longer is to kind of give myself something to hold on to so this thing won't spin while I'm drilling. So kind of a little handle if I need it. So let's glue this together and we'll come back. All right, we got our jig all glued together. My trusty Type-On 3, love it. And we will give this maybe an hour to set up. And then we'll come back and we'll take this over the drill press and I'll put a hole in the center of it. You know what I should have done is inside the hole here, I should have made X marks the spot in there. It would have been on this piece right here. That way I could have just drilled it from the center of inside that hole here. I could have just drilled it in there and made sure it was right in the center, but we'll do the best we can on the other side. You have my X here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's in there. It's on there. And when we drill through the top of that, we're going to hope that it is in the center of where the crankshaft comes through. So let's give this some time to dry and then we'll come back and do that. While we're waiting for our jig to dry, thought I'd talk about the tools we're going to use here. This is our broken bolt. It is a 7/16, I believe. And this is our extractor kit. And you can see with the extractor kit, there's 5 different extractors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it also down here at the bottom it tells you which drill bit to use, what size drill bit. And you can barely see there's a fold there. So like Extractor 1 takes a 5/64 bit. So this is a Hansen kit. I've had it for a while. Why it gets rusty, I have no idea. I guess I should just pull them out, clean them up, and put some oil on them and put them back in there. I don't use them enough to be worried about it. It's been a pretty good kit. I've used it a couple of times, more than a couple times. So what I went out and did was something I have never done before. I went out and bought a kit. This is a OEM Tools left-handed titanium drill bit set. So it's left-handed drill bits. There's 5 sizes in here, and guess what? They are all 5 of the sizes of these extractors. It's all the same size. So this one here goes to that baby. So it's pretty cool. But I don't know really why it's like that, because obviously this extractor is bigger than that drill bit. I can get this out one-handed. So I guess this requires a 5/16 drill bit, or it's 5/64, and you can see here it says 5/64. So this little drill bit is a 5/64, and that's going to be working with this. I don't know about that. So I don't know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start drilling, and whichever one I end up using is the one I end up using. So I'm not sure. Somebody might want to comment who knows more than me about this, why it's like that. I mean, yes, it's telling you what drill bit size to use. 5/64. This one is a 5/64 here, but it just seems smaller than that Easy Out big time. I'll put them side by side. So we'll see. So our jig is still drying, so I'm going to give it some more time, and then we'll come back and we'll try to finish our jig, and then maybe start drilling. Okay, let's try and see if our jig will slide over the crankshaft. I'm not sure it's all the way up there. I might have to clean that out. See, it's kind of mucky in there. We got some room, but we don't have a lot of room. I don't think it's up there all the way. So let's clean that out. It didn't quite fit onto the crankshaft as good as it should. You can see down in here that there's a little lip there where the 2 pieces that I glued didn't quite line up together. So what I'm going to do is take this hole saw, and I took the bit off of it. I'm just going to put it down in here and clean that up a little bit. Okay, let's see if it fits on here now. I need to get a better camera. I want it to go all the way up. It's in there pretty good. I think it could be cleaned up just a little better than that. All right, I took it back to the bench and tried it again. All right, now I'll get this out of the way. Now you can see it slides all the way up in there. We're pretty good. Look at that. It don't move at all. And that's what we want. We want to be able to, when we drill in our hole, we want it to be, this to be nice and tight. Look at that. Beautiful. And now we got to find the center and drill a hole in there. And then we can start working to get this thing drilled out. Takes a little time to make this jig, but let's see how it does for us. All right, you can see that I have a center mark in there now. And what I did is just put the drill bit back on, set this inside there, and just gave it just slight turn, just enough to make a mark where the center was. So we're pretty centered. So now I'm going to take a drill bit, take it over to the drill press, set up a bit in there, and drill through this way in the center of that hole. And then we'll be ready to go. Well, here's my hole. It's pretty centered in there. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's pretty centered in there. Came out pretty close. I'm really kind of surprised about that. So we are ready to drill. So I'm going to go chalk up a drill bit in my electric drill, and we will mount this jig in there and see what happens. Ooh, I'm getting excited. Well, I think we had a pretty good success here. I started drilling just to see where we're going to end up at. That's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. I'm not going to argue about that. So let me keep drilling and we'll see what happens. I haven't put the drill bit on my electric drill. I'm still using the DeWalt battery drill here. So let me drill a little bit more and see what happens. Be back. So I tried to use that 30 seconds bit. I was going nowhere with that thing. So I switched to the 3/4. And let me move that. So you can see that I started to get in there. Now, I'm not as centered as I want it to be. You see, I'm just, well, I guess it's not that bad. It's pretty good. This 1/4-inch bit, man, it's plowing right through it. So I'm going to drill a little bit more and see if I can get it drilled enough to get the easy out in there and see what happens. I'll be back. Okay, I did some drilling and I put a tap in there. It's a larger tap than the 3/4, or sorry, the 1/4-inch. It's a large one, so I tapped it in there and started cranking on it. And of course, the crank was turning in the engine, so I had to take the cover out up on top of the engine and put a screwdriver in the gear up there and stop it from turning. But anyway, I did break it free. So I decided before I really started cranking on it that I'd spray some of this Tri-Flow on there. This stuff I've had for a long time and it seems to do a pretty good job. So I sprayed it on up there. It sucked it right in and nothing even dripped out. I mean, I put a pretty good amount up there. So I'm going to put some more up there and let it sit a little bit, and then I'll come back and crank on it and I'll give you another update. But so far, everything's working good. That jig, working great. Another update. You can see that it's coming out. So I turn it a little bit, then I stop, spray some more of that lubricant up in there. That's coming out. I'm hoping nothing, I hope this easy out doesn't break before I get it out. But it's turning pretty easy. I don't think it's gonna snap off or anything like that. So I'm gonna crank on it some more, see if I can get it out, and then I'll come back. You can tell I'm out of breath. Being underneath this thing. I wish I had some kind of crane to just lift this thing in the air like they do in the shops and work on it. Crawling under things is rough sometimes. But so far, I'm liking what I see. Another update here. Look at that. Look, it's coming out. Who's happy for me? Oh my gosh. This works so great. Way easier than the first time. So definitely love it. Let me get this thing out of here. I wanted you to be here for this moment. Bam! Look at that. Look at how much in the center that is. Look at that. That's the hole. just clean it out. And we'll clean it out, and we'll get a new bolt in there, get everything back together, and we'll go on to the next step, which is fixing the deck. There's a really bad bend in one of the bolts on one of the pulleys. It's on the deck. It's been pretty bad, so we'll fix that too. But it's not here, it's at the owner's house. So I don't know if we're going to bring it back to my shop or what. But this is out. So now I need to get a bolt in there. Get everything mounted back again. Okay, I got the zero turn all back together. It's returned to the neighbor. She says she's going to attempt to repair the deck herself, so I don't have to do that. So let's just talk about the tools I used in this jig. These left-handed bits from OEM Tools I got at AutoZone. They work really well, man. They really cut through the metal fast. The Hansen extractors, they work nice, like always. Like I said, I've had this kit around for a long time. I've used it quite a few times, and it's always there for me. And I'll clean them up and give them a good clean up. They deserve it. The jig, it worked really well. If you come across a broken bolt on a shaft like that, you need to get it out. You kind of get an idea of how I made my jig. Maybe you'd like to make one for yourself. It did pretty good. I mean, it could have been a little bit more in the center. I think to improve this jig, I would probably go down to the hardware store and maybe get a brass bushing that would fit this drill bit, and then put the brass bushing in here, and that would help to eliminate these flutes kind of wallowing out the inside of my hole here, and not, throwing it off as far as getting this hole right to the center of the brake. But did a really good job. And like I said, a lot easier than the last time that I did it when I didn't have the jig. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. I make these kind of videos, and I'll try to make more of them. I've been busy for the last few months, so I haven't made any videos, but I'm going to try to get back on track again. So thank you for being here today. And like I said, like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll try to make more videos. And we'll see you soon.